Hello, this is Stan Stalnaker with Hub Culture, and we're at Climate Week NYC. We've popped over to the Clinton Global Initiative annual meeting that's happening concurrently here in New York, and joining me is Paula DiPerna from the Carbon Disclosure Project. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you, Stan, as always.
Tell me, how's it going over here, and tell me what have been the themes from the meeting?
Well, the Clinton Global Initiative is a unique and remarkable action mill, I would say. And what's been going on is a number of governments, NGOs, financiers, bankers are all here sharing their missions, but then squeezing out the redundancy and the overlap and focusing on what can actually be done, which is a demand that the President Clinton insists upon. And what the amazing flavor that I'm picking up is the degree to which he's almost redefining what business should be, what the economy should be, and redefining it to be, rather than a developed economy or a developing economy, and a humane economy, an advanced economy, which would be one that actually does value social capital, environmental capital, and begins to really look at redefining and recreating measurements that will account for all of those other parameters. So a country with a high GDP will also have to be, by definition, green. In other words, there won't be a green GDP. There'll be one GDP, and it has to be green in order to be high.
And so this move towards efficiency, this move towards, even you could call it advancement within the what would maybe be called the developed economies, is really driving, I think, a lot of this shift in terms of the thinking. Tell me, what kind of a role does the Carbon Disclosure Project play in sort of quantifying this data so that people can figure out who's green and who isn't?
Well, Carbon Disclosure Project, as you know, is a 10-year-old unique organization that has collected on behalf of 660 roughly fiduciary enterprises, investors, pension funds, banks, portfolio managers, who manage collectively roughly $70 trillion worldwide. We've been collecting data, requesting data on behalf of those signatories for more than a decade on greenhouse gas performance. We've expanded to water. We're going to be expanding to forests and fisheries. So on the behalf of the Wall Street world, let's say, the global Wall Street world, we are requesting this information, which is kind of a strong request. It's not just please. It's please do, because we are going to be looking at it from an investment point of view. And what CDP it does, and what I'm observing here at CGI, is this synergy and the growing interest on Wall Street, not among the converted, already green-thinking investors, but among more mainstream investors, that actually there will be some benefit to a corporation for having more of a holistic view about what is and isn't profit. They will reward those companies. The CEO of Kraft made that point this morning. The CEO of Darden Foods said, frankly, Wall Street is missing certain things. We have to be worried about our supply of fisheries, even if they're not. If they're not looking at that yet, we have to be looking at it, because that's a vulnerability for us. So therefore, we have to help manage fisheries more sustainably. So the word sustainable is sort of almost slipping off the radar and being replaced by advanced and humane, and we need a whole new adjective almost to describe a new form of economic activity, which really is integrating the triple bottom line.
Right. So one of the headlines from Climate Week this week has been that moving America towards a cleaner economy and towards, as you would say, an advanced economy is a $3 trillion economic opportunity. These are some of the calculations that have been put out that look at the impact that this can have on the economy and jobs and everything else here in the U.S. specifically. So I'm curious, what kind of a role do you see the Carbon Disclosure Project playing in terms of helping to direct that investment with the data and the information that you guys are organizing?
Well, CDP will play a role in all of that by making this data available in a usable, accessible, one-stop shopping format. So if you're an investor and you want to know what the behavior of X company is or where the investment opportunities might be, you just go on the CDP website and you get the information you need. And then you can dig deeper if you like. So we play this unique switching station role, and we're a piece of environmental infrastructure that if you had to create it today, it couldn't be recreated for cost effectively.
Right.
And for a long time. And we hold this data on behalf of the rest of the world. And we make it available to the rest of the world, and we have the disclosing companies who sometimes partner with us, and we have the signatories who partner with us, and it's a collective repository, if you will, and as I said, a piece of environmental infrastructure. But to your point about the $3 trillion opportunity, the head of the AFL-CIO has said on the record that he believes that if the United States were to address climate change head on and try to address all of the adaptation that has to be done and all of the efficiencies that could be gained, if we began to address it, we would solve the unemployment problem. He thinks that is the only way to rebuild the economy with jobs in it, so that we get away from this jobless growth and get into economic growth that's actually got jobs for everybody. Cement mixers, engineers, welders, plumbers. Plumbers should be overemployed. Because there's so much leakage in the water system, which could be fixed, and that water would be saved, and those people would be employed. So it's a green employment plan, really, the clean revolution.
Right. It's also about improving the grid. Well, last question I want to ask you is about who among the companies that are working to disclose information with CDP, who among them is doing a great job? Who are the best-in-class leaders in terms of providing this data, providing this information? And as you widen into new areas like water and forests and fisheries, who do you see taking the lead in terms of that kind of disclosure?
Well, there's many, many good companies on the high-performing index. The New York Stock Exchange is taking a special look at this. In fact, we rang the opening bell there the other day. Diageo has made a tremendous gain in decoupling economic growth from emissions growth from
like revenue growth?
They've been able to grow revenue without growing emissions, is what I was trying to get. That's huge.
Coca-Cola's trying to do that.
Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, they're all trying to do that, and some are better than others. But we have, a performance index and a disclosure index, and I honestly don't remember who's all on it. But the main thing is that the companies have all gone up. The bar has gone up. It's harder to get into those indices, and more of those companies are reporting that their boards of directors are interested in this problem, and that there is a board committee, or it's part of the governance committee or the audit committee, and they're beginning to be rewarded by consumers and by Wall Street, and sooner or later it's going to be part of the and by shareholders.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for the update, and I know that you have a lot happening here with CGI, so I'll let you get back to it, but I'm Stan Stalnaker from Hub Culture. We're at Climate Week NYC, and this is Paula DiPerna from the Carbon Disclosure Project. Thanks.